We want people to innovate, to disrupt, and to inspire. And that's what I try to do with Journey to the Cloud. That was the whole point of this series and setting it up. And I believe the kind of people we have on our webinars and video series who are the kind of people that innovate, create, and change how the world looks at technology. So that video is important, and it's important for anyone getting started in Microsoft exams. To continue on that note, I am really happy to welcome Roma Gupta. She is a MVP for Microsoft Power Platform. She has worked her way up to one of the highest accreditations, and Roma works for Microsoft as well. So, Roma, welcome to the Journey to the Cloud 7.0. We're really happy to have you. I appreciate you giving up your time this evening to join us. Roma, please take the stage. Can everyone please mute mics and video cameras for Roma? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Perfect. So Henry has covered everything, honestly, whatever is needed for a certification, whether it is fundamentals, associate, or architect level. It does not matter whether you are a Power Platform or Azure or Dan. He has already covered the basics. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about Power Platform, and this would be a mix of associate and little towards architect if you want to move in that journey ahead. So let's talk about how Power Platform also loves cloud since this is Journey to the Cloud. I'm Roma Gupta. I've recently joined Microsoft. Not recently, yes, a year now. And if you've not already noticed, the presentation is in Power Apps directly. And this is a Canvas app right now. Let's talk a little about me before we deep dive today. I am a Dynamics 365 and Power Platform SME. I was business applications MVP. So how it works is if you are an MVP, you cannot be a Microsoft employee, or if you're a Microsoft employee, the MVP title goes away. So that's how I'm an ex MVP right now. I'm very passionate about technology, and that's one of the reasons I'm here today. On a personal note, I love gardening, reading, and cooking. And since I cook, I'm also a big foodie. I'm presenting to you this from South Africa, where I'm based from the past few years. And of course, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn and Twitter. But please reach with an intent. Don't just say hi and how are you, and I will, I will honestly will not respond to you. Let's move on. In today's agenda, I'm going to share you a little about things you would want to know if you want to go towards your associate certifications. How the Power Platform is extensible. So it does not matter whether you are pro code, that means you are like very good with C# codings or APIs, or the low code ones. Let's say you are citizen developers. The certification is for you. We have made it like that. We'll see a quick demo because yes, associate level and the architect level needs to have some hands-on practice on the environment. The theoretical knowledge would not just help. And then of course we can go ahead with the question and answers. Moving on. If you've never seen this, this is the new ecosystem that we have in Power Platform with Power Pages recently launched with Microsoft Build. We have Power Apps. Listening here for the first time, Power Apps is the place where you build apps, the low code apps or the no code apps. And Power Automate is the backbone who gives you, like, let's say, who creates all the workflows and automations. Then we have Power BI for all your analytics and fancy dashboards. Power Virtual Agents are the chatbot features. So if you're thinking, I have zero coding knowledge, how can I start? Or is this platform for me? This platform is absolutely for you because we have created some amazing drag drop features so that you can start today. And the journey is easy. So when I talk about state level certification or how you can do that, I remember when I when I gave my certification, I was like, okay, this is helping. This I know, and that I know. I was literally going that in my mind. But the only reason was because I was had a very hands-on practice. So you need to have some thorough knowledge of the environment, as well as it would be very beneficial for you if you have created some use cases from yourself. You should at least know what are the different products that do, and I'm sure the certifications would be updated since the launch of Power Pages. Moving on, in the bottom we have Dataverse, the database which we give from the Power Platform, but you're more than welcome to use your own data source. Power Pages is what we also known as, let's say, if you want to create beautiful web pages and you don't know PHP, HTML, it's okay. Power Pages will give you all the templates and drag and drop features along with security, so you can do that. And it's the latest in market. We also have some awesome AI builder features and Power FX. Recently, we have also launched the RPA developer certifications, and that is one of the certifications that I have not done yet, and I'm looking forward to doing it. And then, of course, we are using Power FX formulas. This is simple formulas. If you have used Excel, you know what we are talking about. So together, this makes the ecosystem of Power Platform. The associate level certification mostly talks between Power Apps and Power Automate and some formulas and the controls, how it works together. So moving on. We also have some pre-built connectors, and it is important for you to know what are the standard connectors and what are some premium connectors. If because in some cases the license questions comes in picture, and then there are some confusing questions also. So if you want to get a little okay with licenses, it the connectors will also help you, because sometimes even if you're not sure which license should apply, or should I get the knowledge of license or not, if you know the standard connector and the premium connectors and their differences, you should be able to pass. And by the way, we do have a lot of connectors, which is like 700 plus connectors. So if you're not sure like whether my data source is there or not, we have got you covered. But if you're someone who thinks no, my data source would not be there, and even after searching you don't found it, then you are one of the pro code developers, and you can always make your custom connectors. Custom connectors is again one of the topic that comes in associate level exams, and it is good if you have got a hands on that piece. Moving on. This is my favorite image of the Power Platform, where it shows you how extensible the platform is. It easily connects with GitHub, Azure DevOps, your Visual Code, and your VS Code. If you're thinking, why should I know this? I'm just showing you because it does not matter where you fit in. If you're a pro code developer, if you're from Azure DevOps side, your GitHub side, or you just started working with Power Apps and maybe using Excel connectors, the platform is for you and the certification is also for you. But make sure if you're from the low code side, as Henry mentioned just now, make sure you do some fundamentals first, because you know something, then you're super and then you're ready to go for your associate level. But make sure you practice a lot. They ask you formulas, and trust me, when you create a use case in the environment, you are okay, because the IntelliSense work, it gives you options for the formulas. But during the exam you don't know, and as simple as the square brackets or the angular brackets and the syntax, I would say the syntax is what you would want to check, because there are some cases where the formula is perfect, but there was syntax that was missing, there was brackets that was missing. So those are some bonus questions that we should really check out in those associate level. All right, moving on. Demo. Okay, let's move to the new tab. I'm gonna do the demo first, and then we'll see and we'll talk about the different component for you to understand each component at least once, or at least have a look and see what it does. Or if not, just read about it if you are not able to let's say use it. Okay, before I move forward, if you're thinking how should I start doing it, there are two ways to start it. You can either a trial environment in your, some of the organizations have also blocked creation of trial environments. In that case, you're more than welcome to use a developer account. It's free of cost. And what is the advantage of using a developer environment is, if you're making use cases in and you're active in the environment, the product group at Microsoft side sees that yes, the person is active in that developer environment and is using it frequently. So what he will do is the subscription, which is supposed to expire after 3 months, they renew it. So they renew every 3 months as long as they see that you are using it actively. So if not trial environment, go for a developer environment and use it. Coming back to this demo, what I've done here is I have a picture control, then I have a text image, and you can see some hover over happening. I have not worked much on the UI. There's a button, and it's also important for you to know the components and how you can change them. And what are the different types of properties that the components have. Some of them are really useful and handy. Over here, I have a gallery, which is for now showing some images and their names. I have some icons over here. The shape of the icons refer to, of course, delete, and this is like a refresh or a reload button. Then I've put some labels and just renamed it. Let's see it in working. I'm gonna click over here. Let's search. I've got a polywork profile. I'm just gonna upload the picture. If you see, it's telling me that please type a name with an extension. So as soon as I type, if you notice, um, uh, the numbers, sorry, the alphabets of the words were gone. The reason is because it's a hint text. It's not an actual text written in text box. It's a hint text using for your UI experience, for user to tell, or for someone who have never used it, for them to tell. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna click on the image. I'm going to upload this image. Now, if you're thinking where does the image went to my Azure storage. And if you noticed, the image is not even loaded here. That's the trick. I've not even refreshed the gallery. So let's click and reload the gallery. If you noticed, the polywork image appeared here. There is some path over here and the ID. And then of course there's a delete feature. So let's say I want to delete this. I can click. If you noticed, if I take my mouse over here, the name is coming delete. These are some of the UX experience that we want to know. How do you want to update it? All right, let's see this image also in the Azure, because not say that Roma is just around. No, let's move to the another tab. I've got here my Azure portal. Again, this is one of my developer accounts that I'm using it for a very long time. I'm just going to refresh this. And if you're thinking what it is a container that I've created for the demo environment, and the blobs are updated over here. If you notice, the polywork PNG is the second one right over here with the modified date and time. This is one side of how you see it. The other side is from the Storage Explorer. If you notice, the Storage Explorer has been open for quite a long time and it is also not updated here. So let me refresh it. And if you notice, the polywork is updated. So there are two ways of checking it out. I'm just going to minimize it and go back here. Okay. Now, if you're thinking what happened and how do I do this? This I wish in my real life. Let's start. Cool. If this is the designer window that we call. First things first, the environment is always here on the top right. I have only one screen, and sorry about this. I've not done my naming conventions. I always do it. We have got, let me expand it. Okay. We have got some cool navigations on the top, like insert, view, and of course you can call a Power Automate from here. The AI builder is on this side. We have got mixed reality, and the gallery is here. On the action, I've got the Power Automate. All right. As mentioned, these are the labels, the text input. On the text input on the right side, always the property is open. If you notice on the hint text, the property name is hint text. If you click on the hint text, notice this automatically came. If I'm gonna click on default, it is click to default. So these are some of the tricks that you want to know when you want to do a use case of your own. Moving on, the hint text is what goes automatically. You don't have to delete it to type on your own name. And then some of the properties, font size, font weight are enabled. Notice here we have also enabled the spell check, so you don't make errors, and you don't have to make extra validations for the naming conventions. This is a media property that is already available. So if you see this is clubbed together, it's already available out of the box. I've just drag and dropped it. How you do it? You can just come here, for example, let's just put an text input. It's gonna come over here. By default, any text inputs come like this. If I'm gonna do this, going back anyway, and then I've just modified this text property to look similar to this, something on the UI side. But yes, on the associate level, they don't ask you. They ask you question formulas and components and which components do what. So make sure you familiarize yourself with all the components on the top over here and what everything do and how to like talk between Power Apps and let's say Power Automate, for example. Quick things on the upload, I've got a formula. I've already done a format text. If you want to remove formatting, the things are available here. I'm using the Azure Blob Storage. The connector is available out of the box for me. Then it has a create file function. I'm just using my the Azure storage, my text box, the media property, and then once it is done, once the file is created, I'm resetting it just for the from the UI purpose. Otherwise, the names would still stuck there. So that's how the media is updated. How to view it, whatever is just uploaded, is via gallery. Anything that you want to view at any given point of time, you use either gallery or data table, and both has got its own advantages and disadvantages. So make sure you read in detail what is a gallery, what is a data table. If you notice here, the gallery has got different components and the gallery also has different layouts. I'm using the layout with the image title, so there are multiple depending upon your need. This is the path where the images are stored. You would need for your use case, but I just wanted to show it here for the demo purposes. And then I've got just the ID. The delete function is really cool because then I'm again calling my Azure Blob function using the delete file, and then I'm telling it which item to pass. So this item property is very cool in Power Platform. It holds the object that you're actually playing with, and yeah, it deletes. But what is the code after it? The clear collect is one of the function we have in Power Platform. It's this is my variable that I have the collection name, and then I'm asking it to refresh my folder so that if I close this, so that this gallery is updated. So if you want to see it in action, let's delete this one. Okay, notice deleted first, so the delete happened, then the clear collect formula ran, and then this is updated. So that was a quick demo that you can do and create. But coming back and going to the presentation, since I'm running too fast, I think. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if I've covered everything or I was way too fast. But when it comes to associate or architect level, please do not hesitate. Go book some extra time, know your tools, know some use cases, know the formulas, and work it on. And that's how you would just kill it, the exam, or nail the exam. And if you're wondering how many certifications I've done, I've used the same tactics as Henry mentioned and did a use case preparations. I've got more than 10 certifications for now, including the Power Platforms. So I've got all the certifications from Power Platform, including the architect level, and it will become easy. Just make sure when you go for the architect level once, some queries or questions from the dynamics because they the PL600. So make sure you go study well and take your time. Some of the things may or may not apply to you. If you're a visual person like me, just create a developer environment, dig in, get your hands dirty, and nail the exam. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Roma. That was really, really, really good. I'm sure everyone will agree that that was really interesting. I've never really seen Power Apps run, so that was interesting. What you call it? Has anybody got any questions?
It's the future anyway, isn't it? They're going to be here to stay, Power Apps.
Yeah, Absolutely. And how long had you been working in Power Apps, Roma, to get to the stage you are at in your career? I suppose just for any other men or women looking to kind of, branch out into Power Apps and be
Mhm.
that kind of a developer. How long have you been at it?
So first things first, we all must understand that Power Platform is fairly new, right? So it does not, nobody would have like 8 years of experience in Power
Mm,
Platform. So I fairly have like 4 years of experience. I started my journey with Dynamics 365 when it was like CRM 2011. So that's how the model driven and the dataverse concepts have deep dived into Power Platform, and that's my strong area. Of course, I've been in that space for quite a long time. Then I started like what Henry just mentioned, like you start with fundamentals. So I did it. I did some practice, so that's how I did the fundamentals, and I was like, oh, this is fairly simple. I know this, I know that, and that's how I nailed the fundamentals. And I'm like, that gave me motivation that yes, let's do the second level. So I think I did 15 days of my preparation, and then I went ahead for the associate level. But I just took 15 days because I was already familiar and I was working with my previous company in that space. So I knew how everything works. I knew the formulas very well. So I was like, let's do that. But the main thing, yes, I forgot to mention the learning parts. Make sure you do the learning parts. They're almost always up to date. So I always do my learning parts, and it's amazing to see the learning parts also gives you some rewards, right? So I'm not sure, I'm sitting on some level 15 or 13, I don't know, but the learning parts are amazing. So you start from there and you nail it on. So yeah, 15 up, but yeah, the range is quite long. Being a girl in
okay.
this space, you're gonna rock it, trust me, especially for the
What's
girls, the women in tech.
what's it like? So, Roma, you and I had a discussion beforehand, before tonight's presentation. What's it like being the only girl in the room and having to straighten out all those men and tell them they're wrong? What is that like? Because we've got perspective from Lorraine Lawrence, who gave her opinion on how that played out. What's your opinion when you've to tell them how it is?
Oh my God. It's a nightmare. In my entire career, to be honest, when I was a fresher, I was the only girl with the boys team. Then, as I moved on in the career, I mean, I would say it was only boys, like all the boys. The biggest team that I have was, I think, 12 boys, including the project manager, delivery manager, and then I was the only girl. So I'm like, how to talk to these boys, like in a professional way, because every time they would be off for coffee, they won't ask me. They were like, I felt left out. I'm like, this guys is something wrong. I don't know if this is culture difference or traditionals. I don't know. So I just
Yeah,
got my way in. I did what I was good at, which is technology, and then eventually people started talking to me because they knew this is the girl who can
yeah.
solve my issue. But it
uh,
is realistic, but it's
yeah,
changing slowly also.
yeah. We're getting there with it. I think one of we had a question from the audience.
Yeah. Uh,
Yes.
help me.
Can I read the question out?
Yes.
So
Yes,
someone
please.
is asking, how do we connect the dots from Power Apps to Power Automate? Did you get the
Yes.
question? Let me let me
Yes.
let me
I,
let me send it to you.
I got it, Solomon. No, no.
Okay.
You
Okay, you
you
got it.
don't
Okay,
connect
okay.
you don't connect the dots between Power Apps and Power Automate. It's already connected. It depends. Everything depends on your use case, right? Let's say let's say what, okay, let's take an easy example. You want to use Power Apps as a front end. Let's say you just filled a simple form or a leave request. On the click of submission, you want the data to be stored in SharePoint or Dataverse, but you also want yourself and your manager to receive an email. The email sending is not out of box in Power Platform, Power Apps. So you will use the underlying connection of Power Automate. Like I showed an insert tab that had got the action. You will call your Power Automate flow. All the flows that are got in the same environment in which your Power App is, you will see your flow. The flow is already developed, or you can create one, and then you will just simply call it. So on the click of the button, you will have two things done. You will submit the form, and then you will also trigger your Power Automate flow that will send you the email notifications and approvals if you want. So that's how you do it. You decide at which point you have to call your Power Automate and just call it from the insert ribbon on the top. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, that really makes sense. Yeah, I think I
Okay.
now get a grab of it.
Okay. So honestly, Roma, thank you so much. I know you did point out you're a former MVP. Once an MVP, always an MVP.
Of
You're a
course.
valued member of the MVP community.